Call the council meeting to order tonight, and tonight will be led in the invocation by Chaplain Steve Korm from the South Dakota Air National Guard. After the invocation, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance, so at this time I would ask everyone to please rise.
O God, as we enter Holy Week for Christian believers and Passover for Jewish believers, we are reminded of our diversity, a diversity that challenges us to examine our own biases, preferences, and calls for the acceptance of those who differ from us in race, religion, and political persuasion. May the challenge of diversity lead us to creative ways of thinking and acting on behalf of all who call Sioux Falls home. And as the God of the one who had no place to call home, may we be a welcoming presence to the sojourners and strangers among us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Nice to meet you.
We'll start out with, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Jamison.
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Benninga.
Benninga seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve the consent agenda, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh, Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present have voted. Consent agenda has been approved. 7 yes, 1 excused. Now we're at the regular agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Brown.
Second.
Brown moved. Costello, second?
Mr. Chair.
That's it, okay. Excuse me.
No, Mr. Chair, I had a motion.
Well, no, can you just wait till we...
Yes, sir.
Did you second for the regular agenda?
Costello.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So we got a motion made and seconded to approve the regular agenda. Is there any other further motions?
I have a motion, Mr. Mayor. I have a motion to amend the main motion to reconsider item 25, which is an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinance of the city by adding thereto a new Article 7 to Chapter 39 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Reduced Taxation for New Commercial Structures or New Commercial Residential Structures thereto, or additions, renovations, or reconstruction to existing structures located within the city's designated area of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'd like to set a date of the hearing for Monday, April 16th at 7 o'clock.
That's your motion to amend. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jamison seconded. Further comment on that motion to amend the regular agenda? There are no further comments. All in favor of that motion to amend will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
No.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present voted 6 yes, 1 no, and 1 excused. That the motion has been approved. Further motions?
Mr. Mayor, I motion to change item 9 to read North Career Avenue and West Cayman Street instead of West Career Avenue and West Cayman Street.
Okay, that's a motion. A second?
I second that motion.
Knutson seconds. Further comments on that motion? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes. All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. We're back to the main motion been made to approve the regular agenda as amended. Further comments on the motion to approve as amended? No further comments. All in favor of approving the regular agenda as amended will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh? Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present voted. The regular agenda has been approved as amended, 7-1. Now we're at the time that anyone that wishes to address the council for a period of 5 minutes at this time may come forward, give your name and your address, please.
My name is Rose Costello. My address is 2216 Black Rock Circle, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I am here this evening to talk about the Big Read and to invite everyone to join in some interesting and entertaining events. The Big Read is an initiative sponsored by the National Endowment for the Arts, with Arts Midwest. A few years ago, the NEA sponsored a survey to discover what people are reading these days. Anyone who stops by Barnes & Noble on a Sunday afternoon knows that people are reading. The survey found that we are reading magazines and self-help books and computer manuals and tax guides, but that the role of literature in our lives is very small. Reading literature is a way to deepen and extend our understanding of ourselves and each other. It's a way of becoming fuller citizens of our country and our city. It's a way of building stronger communities. The Big Read is a community-based program which focuses for 1 month on a single piece of literature. This year, our book is My Antonia by Willa Cather. Written in the early 20th century, it's a story of pioneers in the Nebraska prairie. It's also a story of the great immigration wave to America in the late 19th century, and it's a love story. The book speaks to us here in the prairie of South Dakota on many levels. It's a beautiful book and full of beautiful writing. So we invite you to read the book. There are hundreds of copies at various library branches around town. And there are plenty of other events, too. There are film showings. There's a performance of Willa Cather Live at the Belvis Theater. There's an evening at the Multicultural Center with food and music and stories from diverse members of our immigrant community. And there are many other events. If you log on to southdakota.sdhumanities.org and follow the Big Read links, you'll find the entire calendar. There are posters and calendars at the libraries, bookstores, and coffee shops around town. Our very first event is during the afternoon of April 16th at the Old Courthouse Museum, where we'll tour their great homesteading exhibit after watching a film and having a short discussion of the book. So happy reading. I hope to see you all during our Big Read Month from mid-April to mid-May. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rose. Appreciate you coming down. Others who wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, give your name and your address, please.
My name is Teresa Staley. I reside at 1621 South Van Ness Avenue. And tonight I would like to address the council about the organization of Pool for All Seasons. Last August, when the council voted to include an indoor pool in the CIP, a group of citizens who live near the Drake Springs area, myself included, organized to start a petition drive to put the issue to a vote. We wanted to retain a park-like atmosphere in that area, maybe have flower beds, park benches, and a nice outdoor pool. We are just common citizens. We're not wealthy. This was a grassroots effort. We don't have a lot of money, actually no money. And it was just our desire to see what the citizens of Sioux Falls really wanted with this issue. When we started this petition drive, it was our desire to have it in conjunction with the school board election. In fact, I called Bev Chase right away, and so that we wanted to save the taxpayers money. We also wanted it to be held in a timely manner. The people who participated in this and the people who signed the petitions are good citizens. We're good people. We became aware last week of this group, your group, called A Pool for All Seasons. And I have an email that was sent to the Republican women of Minnehaha County about the indoor pool, and it was signed by Dave Munson, Gerald Benninga, Vernon Brown, Pat Costello, Bob Jameson, Kevin Kavanaugh, and Dee Knutson. And we don't have a problem with this email. It's the letter you sent out that we have a problem with. And I would like to read the second paragraph. This is a fundraising letter that A Pool for All Seasons put out. It says, May 15th marks an important vote for Sioux Falls. It will be an opportunity for citizens to validate the City Council's progressive decision to move our city forward with an indoor pool. The opposition, and that would be all of us who signed the petition, of course, wants to force another outdoor pool for the Whittier neighborhood. Now, here's where we feel we were slapped in the face. It says, we are stealing a state-of-the-art facility for a neighborhood that deserves a great facility. We are stealing an opportunity for children and adults throughout the community to have an indoor recreation option. Now, none of us are thieves. We worked very hard to bring this to a vote. I think that that was a very unfair use of words in that paragraph. Down below, you say, please consider helping us combat the misinformation by sending us a check to get the correct message out. And as of now, I believe the people involved in this email are the only ones who have contributed to this organization. We have always just said we want a nice outdoor pool. Any information we have used has come from the Parks Department. So as far as misinformation on our part, that has not happened. So we are very disappointed in this, but we are very excited and happy that this is going to a vote and that we have such good citizens in Sioux Falls who would like to participate in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Vern?
Teresa, I understand that you talked to Mr. Hagar, who signed that letter. And I understand he also apologized for that word.
Right. Well, it almost sounded like he didn't write the letter.
But he did apologize for it?
He said he would like to apologize to people who are offended by that stealing.
Okay. And I think it's probably a matter of perception. Stealing a state-of-the-art facility, I think it's a perception. I don't think
anyone who has read this letter, and I've gotten phone
Teresa?
calls.
May I finish, please?
Okay.
I think it's a matter of perception about whether, people are going to disagree about this. In fact, today I was on the radio about the pool praising you for bringing the petitions, because anytime we get people involved in an opportunity to vote, I think that's a great thing. It's great democracy to do that. We may differ on how we approach this issue, but I don't think there's any lack of respect between what you stand for and what Mr. Hagar stands for or Glenda Hagar stand for.
Well, he said he was very disappointed that that was in there. It sounded like he didn't know it was going to be in the letter. So I don't know who wrote the letter. I do know, however, that it came from your funds. So you're all responsible for the wording in that letter.
And one other correction, you mentioned that some of the counselors contributed to that fund. There are more than counselors contributed.
There was one other person, Dee Knutson's husband, right now on the financial report.
There are other people that contributed at a level that didn't show up on the financial report. So that's incorrect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Others that wish to address council for a period of 5 minutes, please give your name.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor?
Oh, excuse me.
Teresa, I would just like to comment further. You know, when the misinformation part comes out, when you say things like, we just want flower beds and a park-like atmosphere, it makes people believe that that's contrary to what we want for an indoor pool atmosphere. It's not. We clearly do want a park-like atmosphere.
People are not going to be hanging around outside a parking lot in an indoor pool.
It doesn't, they're not exclusive. It doesn't mean that the indoor pool cannot have other outdoor features. It doesn't mean they can't have nice park-like environment. One thing I will say, too, is that we all respect your opinion. You took a lot of initiative, as Vernon said, to get this issue before the citizen public. You are certainly entitled to your opinion. We all likewise are entitled to our opinion. And if I feel that this initiative is stealing the opportunity for young children to have recreation in the winter months, that's my opinion, and I will stand by that letter.
Well, and that's good. I just want people to be aware of that's what you're saying. You know, coming out in a letter to how many, 500 people or 1,500 people, and you know, we could say you're stealing our outdoor pool. I mean, yours is an idea. This is an existing facility right now. But we're not going to say words like that. They're divisive. They're negative. And I mean, if you choose to do that, that's fine. But we have a right as citizens to say we don't think that that's fair.
Yes. Also, I'd like to clarify this money situation, too. Teresa, when you said that there were only certain people who contributed money to this campaign so far for the indoor pool, you were relying on the financial report that committee submitted. Is that correct?
That's right.
Go ahead.
I believe, as most of us know as elected officials, that contributions of $100 or over $100 are required to list the individual. There are many contributions that have been received that are under the $100 limit that aren't associated with an individual. So that's where, when you say that we're the only ones that contribute, that's not accurate. And that's where the misinformation comes from.
So that means that their contributions will never show up?
No, their contributions, the dollar amounts show up, but they're not
Oh, well-
required to be listed by name and how much they contribute. So they could be contributions of $1 or up to $100.
Okay.
Vernon?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it. You're coming down. Others wish to address the council for a period of 5 minutes, public input time. I see no one coming forward.
Mayor, I have a presentation I'd like to make to you.
Okay.
The city of Sioux Falls has been a member of the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance for 20 years. And at the district meeting on last week, we received a clock. I'd like to present that clock to you for 20 years.
Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Councilmember Jameson, and this is a beautiful clock, 20 years as a member. Thank you very much, and we'll find a prominent place to display this in, so appreciate it very, very much. Okay, let's move on to item number 8.
Item 8 is a new 2006-2007 retail malt beverage license for Dan Larson, name to be determined, to be operated at 401 North Phillip Avenue, Suite 401M, with a conditional use permit approved by the Planning Commission on March 7th, 2007, pending final inspection per fire.
Gene Roanhorst, Director of Finance for the City of Sioux Falls. I'm sorry our usual person isn't here tonight. She was involved in a car accident, and she's fine, but wasn't able to be here. I think the title of this one pretty well speaks for itself. The conditional use permit has been approved by the Planning Commission. It's for a downtown piano bar. It is pending final inspection by the fire department.
Questions of Gene on item number 8? Others that wish to address the council on item number 8? Council discussion or action?
I move for approval. Knutson.
Knutson moves. There's a second.
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 8 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh? Yes. Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 8 has been approved 8-0. Item 9.
Item 9 is a second reading, a major amendment, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending Chapter 15.45.070 Planned Development Districts, allowing changes in land use as reflected in revised sub-area regulations and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls, North Career Avenue and West Cayman Street. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mike Cooper, Planning and Building Services. This is a request to change the land use on approximately 4 acres of land, which is part of the Thielen addition. The original zoning allowed multifamily residential, and this amendment would change that land use to allow office development on this property, and the recommendation is to approve the amendment.
Questions of Mike on item number 9? Others that wish to address the council on item number 9? Not, close the council discussion or council action.
Move to approve, Litz.
Let's
Second,
move.
Jameson.
Jameson seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item number 9 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item number 9 has been approved 8-0. Item 10.
Second reading, rezone an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West Benson Road and Northview Avenue to rezone portions of the Jansmick addition to conform with a previously approved preliminary subdivision plan and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is on the east side of Interstate 29 and north of Benson Road. It's approximately 100 acres of land area. We had a previous zoning plan approved for this property, and after that was approved, a preliminary subdivision plan came forward with some changes to the street layout and lot layout. And so now we're working with the applicant, the landowner, Jasmic Addition landowners, to modify the zoning district boundaries so that they match up with the road and lot layout. And this includes approximately 50 acres of land for C4 commercial, approximately 20 acres for office, 16 acres of C2 commercial, and about 8 acres of light industrial zoning for future development. And also recommending approval of this rezoning request.
Questions of Mike on item number 10? Others that wish to address the council on item number 10? Close it to council discussion or action.
Move to approve. Brown.
Brown moved. Is there a second?
Second, Benninger.
Benninger seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 10 will vote yes. Those opposed vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benninga,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 10 has been approved 8-0. Item 11.
Item 11 is a second reading rezone, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the southeast corner of East 26th Street and South Dakota Highway 11 to develop neighborhood commercial services and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a request to change the zoning for a portion of what will be developed as the Copper Creek addition. It's on the south side of 26th Street and east of Highway 11. It's approximately 8 acres of land area. The request is to modify the zoning to allow future neighborhood commercial development on this property. We will also be including this as part of the item number 22, which will be coming up later tonight on the agenda, to approve the preliminary subdivision plan for this entire development. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of this rezoning, and I've just been in contact with property owners to the east of this proposed rezoning, as well as the subdivision action that will come up later tonight. And I've indicated to them that we will continue to work with them on this property regarding their future development plans and their future access plans. And the recommendation at this time is to approve item number 11.
Questions of Mike on item number 11? Others that wish to address the council on item number 11? Close it to council discussion or action.
I move for approval.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 11, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benninga,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
Item 11 has been approved 8-0. Item 12.
Second reading, rezone an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property south of East 73rd Street near Cliff Avenue to develop condominiums within a planned development zoning district and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a request to change the zoning on approximately 9 acres of land that's adjacent to the Diamond Valley development area. The applicant is proposing to construct approximately 72 units of condominiums, which is a higher density attached housing concept that we believe there's a market for in this area. And so by changing this zoning from the traditional single-family detached to this Tuscany Village Plan development, it will allow this land use to go forward in this particular area. And the recommendation is to approve the zoning change.
Questions of Mike on item, Bob?
Mike, the remaining portion is going to stay single-family, is, that was originally planned for
Yes.
single-family?
Yes.
Thank you.
And there's a church to the east of this property.
Further questions of Mike on item number 12? Others that wish to address the council on item number 12? Close it to council discussion or council action.
Move to approve, Litz.
Let's move. Second.
Second, James.
Jamison seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 12, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benninga,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 12 has been approved 8-0. Item 13.
Second reading, a rezone, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property of the northeast corner of West 41st Street and Ellis Road to develop approximately 20 acres in the Planned Development District zoning district and 60 acres in conventional zoning districts and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is located on the north side of 41st Street and east of the T. Ellis Road. It has been annexed into the city, and we have also approved a land use amendment on this property. The developers are coming in with a zoning plan that divides this into a conventional zoning area of approximately 60 acres that will allow for commercial, multifamily, and single family. And adjacent to 41st Street will be a planned development zoning. Sub-area A will include multifamily or office land uses, and then sub-area B to the west of that will allow for either office or commercial development. This is a land use plan, as I said, that we have come through with as an amendment, and the zoning is in conformance with that land use plan, and we're recommending approval of this change tonight.
Question to Mike on item number 13. Others that wish to address the council on item number 13? We'll close it to council action. Is there a motion?
I move for approval. Knutson.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benninga,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Jamison.
Yes.
All members present have voted. Item 13 has been approved 8-0. Item 14.
Item 14 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by clarifying the notice provisions in Chapter 19, Article 3, nuisance and offensive conditions, in Chapter 25, Article 3, abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, or inoperative motor vehicles, and revising Chapter 11, Article 10, rental housing, Sections 11-1112 and 11-114 of the revised ordinances, which shall require the owner or responsible party to disclose whether he or she has failed to make timely corrections of health, nuisance, or other code violations within the previous 3 years under the permit requirements, along with repealing Section 11-119, the sunset provision of the rental registration section.
Tonight, we're introducing to you an ordinance that would amend existing city ordinances. And this started out as an attempt to take a look at our existing rental housing permit ordinance that was approved by the City Council with a sunset provision that would take effect this year. What we did is we got together with a number of city staff along with a Sioux Falls Multi-Housing Association to talk about what we could do to essentially make the rental housing ordinance a permanent ordinance. And after going through discussions about that, we also brought in with the City Health Department some changes that we wanted to include that would pertain to the nuisance ordinance. So all of the changes that are being recommended within this ordinance are the result of a lot of discussions and a lot of meetings regarding trying to address how this should become a permanent ordinance. And I would like to have Judy Buseman with Health and Gary Caldwell, the City Attorney, make some comments on the proposed changes to you. But before that, I would like to just kind of summarize, as we talked with the Sioux Falls Multi-Housing Association about this ordinance, there were some other items that we worked together on as far as ideas for future implementation that would encourage rental property owners to work with us and hopefully to cut down on incidences in the future where we had to go out and issue citations. And I'm just going to quickly talk about those. Number one is to develop an informational program for property owners that would better explain our existing building code requirements and how those existing building codes could address remodeling projects and building improvements on existing older properties. That existing building code was recently amended by the City Council, and we would like to work with the association and with city staff to get more information out that would help answer questions about remodeling projects or upgrading projects and how those might be impacted by that code. Number two is to put together consistent language in letters that come from different city departments, whether it be police or health or building services or city forestry regarding ordinance violations, so that we don't confuse people or that we don't have different types of language or information that would be within those letters. And we've already actually started implementing that request. Number 3 was a great idea, and that was to implement a tax abatement ordinance that would assist and encourage property improvements and redevelopment projects within older existing neighborhoods. And obviously that has been done, and we're going to be reconsidering that with some slight modifications over the next couple of weeks. Number 4 was to look at developing a rental rehabilitation assistance program similar to what the city currently offers for existing single-family housing properties. And through our neighborhood code enforcement process, we are looking into a way of providing a program like that in the future. Number 5 is looking at ways to develop neighborhood cleanup projects with both public and private volunteers that would be in addition to the annual Project Nice and Project Keep that the city sponsors. This is also something that was brought up in our meetings with the Whittier neighborhood recently, and so we have put together a committee of Whittier neighbors to look at ways of implementing a volunteer cleanup program like that. So this is something that we believe we can pursue in the future. And then number 6 was look at providing educational programs that would be administered by the Multi-Housing Association for rental property owners who receive citations for code violations. And that was something that the Housing Association actually has available now and that they would be willing to provide in the future. So with those 6 initiatives and with the amendments that we're currently looking at, that was the discussion that we brought forward to get to tonight's recommendation. And I will say that we are still looking at the proposed ordinance changes with the Multi-Housing Association. We're going to have one more meeting this week, and there is the possibility that we could come back with some, I'm not sure if I should use the word minor, but some slight modifications. But for all practical purposes, I think we're heading in the right direction. And that's the intent, is to make this as a permanent ordinance. So, Mayor, if I could ask Judy.
Just Mike.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Mike, you mentioned that you've met with a lot of people, the health department, the multi-housing, our city attorney's office, but you didn't mention 2 important groups. You didn't mention people who do not belong to the Multi-Housing Association and have these kind of facilities. We didn't get any input from them. And then also, secondly, this has not come before the Public Services Committee. This is a very important piece of legislation, and it would seem to me that, you know, this should be going through this City Council committee before we continue here with the second reading.
I guess I would like to have some of the other councilors address that, because we're really pursuing this. At least it was my understanding that there was support by the City Council to move forward with this.
Well, I mean, I just heard about this today, and I guess, well, Vernon, are you going to?
I think that was when you were gone on vacation that Mike addressed the council.
You mean when I was in Florida with my father who was in ill health? Yes.
That's probably what
okay,
it was.
well, I still didn't find out about
that's
it.
when it happened. He did address the council with it, and we did, all of us, I think, addressed.
But it still doesn't answer the question why we didn't have it go through the Public Services Committee. I mean, this is an extremely important piece of legislation, because the last time we passed this, we had a lot of discussion on the City Council. We even had a tie vote that had to be broken by the mayor. This is not just some little minor ordinance. This is a major one. It should go through the committee.
Kevin?
These are minor revisions, and you may refer to them as major. We could disagree on that, but these are revisions to existing ordinances. The council received a briefing from Mike on this several weeks ago, and nobody suggested it be referred to a committee. And if we would have referred it to any committee, it would have been land use.
Well, I'm a member of land use too, and
let's all remember
yes.
this. Let's remember this. This is the first reading we have here tonight, and what first readings are for the people that watch on Channel 16 as well as the audience here is that This is a time that the staff gives a report and the council can ask questions. We don't take public testimony on the first reading. So that'll be at the second reading when those people can come and if they've had some issues, it gives them time to collect what their thoughts and what they want to talk about and come and talk at that time there. So they'll still have, there'll be time that we'll have,
But-
the public can talk about what they want.
Can I just ask, Mike, would you be willing to present to this to the Public Services Committee? And also try to bring in some of the independents that have rental property?
Mr. Mayor,
I'm asking a question.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Bob. Go ahead.
I think it's the task of the council leadership to assign to a committee, and after the presentation the last time, I did not feel it was necessary to have it assigned to a committee. So that's where it stands.
Okay, so we will.
So do we
move
have,
forward.
if I can
Go
just
ahead.
ask a question, do we have any real standards then for whether we assign something to a committee or not?
The
Or is it
council-
just simply the
It's through
leadership
the
that
chair.
decides?
It's
Just-
through
The
the
okay.
leadership
chair.
will determine it.
Okay,
It's through the chair, so that takes care of it.
because I haven't seen anything from the the building department for a long time.
I think, what Kevin says is appropriate, because this is something that we have been working on, and there are some adjustments, but it was either going to be sunset or we had to take action on it, and that's what happened, so. But we will have time. I mean, we're not going to negate and not let the public have input into this. So the next meeting, and you know how the first reading works, and on that.
But next week, we're supposed to vote on this, and at the last minute, the public might be able to say something. I mean, we should have a longer period of time to allow
They'll have a
public.
week, but anyway, we're at first reading here, so the chair has made a decision, and go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering if we shouldn't move this back for second reading until April 16th to give us an extra week to review this. I think we have plenty of time in that time for the Multi-Housing Association to finalize their information, and also for anybody else who would like to be involved in that. That's a motion.
Is that a motion? Bennigan? Seconded. Pat, did you? Costello seconded? Okay, let's go through Judy. We got the motion, Bob.
Mike, a question for you or for Judy, maybe either one of you. At that Whittier meeting, there's concern about the length of time from the time a complaint is filed until it's resolved. Will this ordinance do anything to help alleviate some of that delay?
I'll speak to the health issues. I think the ones that are the tough, the time lag is because we need to take them through court and either, or go for an injunction. And so those are the time-consuming processes. We still, from a health perspective, we're right at about 93 to 95% of all resolved within the time frame in health, but the ones that are referred on, that legal process takes longer. Sometimes then the court systems may ask the complainant to do some cleanup, and then we come back, so it just takes whatever it takes at that point. And Gary, you can maybe illustrate better than that, or...
Well, I think the concern there is that it seems to be before it gets to the court system. I may be speaking out of place, but it seems like it takes too long to get it to the court process. Now and I know that we passed some changes here a year or so ago that we're supposed to speed that up. Has it in fact done that?
Mr. Mayor, I watched the timelines in the city attorney's office from the time that the information arrives at the attorney's office until the process is filed, and I have not yet seen any unnecessary delays. They're moving quickly. So I think we're moving as quickly as we can in the city attorney's office, and I think the inspectors are doing the best they can. I think part of and it's unfortunate, I know people that complain want the property cleaned up the next day, but it just doesn't work that way. We do get on it, though.
If I can add one more just point, one of the things that we've added, through our process is that we're doing more cleanups just by, with city crews or in hiring others. So if we look at the comparison in just the last 3 years, we have more than tripled the number of cleanups we do, just so that if we've got a particularly, bad-looking location, then we work and we do that cleanup while we're moving toward the court. But there's that interim period while people may add more garbage, more trash in those areas, but we watch those properties. We have usually the code officer goes out and is ticketing, which has been a very supportive process, so that at the city attorney's office, we found the courts very responsive to those cases as they have more documentation. They have multiple processes in place with somebody then that is recalcitrant to pick up and clean up, at least again, I can talk from the health perspective, from those junk and abandoned vehicles or those kinds of complaints. So we feel like, and even in our documentation, we have actually decreased the number of cases we have in the city attorney's office. If you look at back, we've been tracking that over a number of about 5 years. The tough ones just are tough.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of Judy?
Yeah, a number of years ago when we first passed this, the real controversy was over permitting the owners of these apartment complexes and so forth. In taking a look at this, I guess I've come to the conclusion, what is the difference between permitting and licensing?
The other one is, we were going to walk through each section of the ordinance now that you have in front of you.
Okay.
And so I was going to start with 19, but we can go to 11 if you want to start there. That would be the... What?
A license is, if I might, Mr. Mayor, when the city licenses an operation or an entity, it's given sanction by the city to operate in accordance with the license. When the city issues a permit, it's a recognition that the process is taking place. It's not specific authority from the city to operate in accordance with the city's licensing procedures.
But if I could just further ask for clarification, if we don't give anybody a license, they cannot operate. Isn't that right, Gary?
If the ordinance requires a license, they must have the license to operate. The permit process that's set forth in Section 11 of our ordinances is simply an application, and the permit is granted. We are amending that slightly by making provision for not an investigation, I'm sorry, an inspection if in fact that particular property has been the subject of enforcement actions that have been unresolved in the past.
But then, if I can just ask one more question about this, because I was asking about permit and licensing.
Could we possibly ask the staff to go through
That's
this,
what I was just
give
going to
their
do.
presentation?
I'd want the staff to go through and then ask questions. Go ahead, Judy.
Okay.
This is a first reading, and as I said earlier, sir, listen, you can come, if we do it on the 9th or the 16th, you can come at that time. We always, and I said at the start, this is first reading, and this is to the council, and the staff makes a report, and they are allowed to ask questions of the staff on the issue at hand, and then we don't take any comments from the audience until the second reading. Then you got time. So.
Okay, I'm going to be looking at the chapter 19, which are the first 2 pages, and then just a little bit on page 3, and then the last section on chapter 25. So I'm going to go through the pieces that relate to the health and the nuisance code pieces. But first of all, I'd really like to say that the meetings that we've had over about the last 3 to 4 months with the multi-housing group have been very proactive at looking at how we work with code violations in multiple departments, how we coordinate, and so that we can be assistive to them, but we also don't want to get between their owners and the renters and that. So we've been trying to work a coordinated process. The changes that we've made in the chapter 19, we've made probably in this section have the most things have been to put some more definition and clarification into what is and what constitutes the nuisance definition. So in the first pages, the first 2 pages really are looking at what are nuisance. We've added more substance to those pieces. There's been a significant amount of formatting changes, also, and a little bit of deletion of wording. But those were really what we worked on in those first sections. If we go to the third page, then, section 1951, again, in working with the multi-housing, we're adding some wording that they're requesting, looking at notification of the owner and the owner of record by looking at the rental association, the rental permitting process, so that we know we're getting either to a rental manager or to the owner of the property, or both. It'll go out to. So, and then we've also added some language so that if we have posting of properties, and when we have different, particularly nuisance, where we have some public health threat, where we have raw garbage, etc., we then post those properties, and we've added language then to post and to mail out in a short notice also to the owners and property owners or property managers of the thing. So that's clarification for that was requested by the multi-housing group. Then lastly, in section 50, same section, 1951, we've restated from Chapter 2, where we have the administrative fines processing and all the fees processing. That's really the last part of that paragraph. And we added it back into this ordinance because this way, when we use this ordinance when we do notice of violation, and so we like all the description. And this clarifies, again, the owner of record. And it's not, there's no change in that. It's just pulling it into this ordinance also, so that when we do that mailing, we have getting all of the information. The last section then that we're looking at changes in section 2550, the last 2 paragraphs on the 5th page, and we've added the same wording about mailing, about inoperable vehicles, because those, if by definition, if you look at definition 21, those are defined as a nuisance. And so we've, in chapter 25 that deals with vehicles, we've just added the same language that we have on mailing out in that section. Otherwise, there's, looks like significant change, but it's really formatting, deleting, some minor word changes. Those are the substantive changes that we've made at this point. But I would look forward to work with the multi-housing group again, because we're all looking for that same intent, compliance. They from, we from the property, and they from their renters.
Okay, let's go with, are you next, Gary?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to deal with Section 11, which is the multi-housing license, permit process. You'll note changes to Section 11-112. The first is that we made a condition for denying a permit that you've made untruthful. The person applying has made untruthful statements. We've also added a new requirement that you must disclose if you've been, within the previous 3 years, been in violation or failed to timely correct any nuisances that were on your property. Section 114 goes on then and provides that your permit to operate rental housing in the city expires either 3 years after it was granted or 14 days after you've received notice of a violation if you haven't corrected that violation. Then further provides that to be re-permitted after having had your permit expire, you have to have your property inspected. You will note also that we have deleted Section 119, which is the sunset provision, so the ordinance will be effective. And then there are 2 sections that clarify language dealing with abandoned vehicles, allows the city to remove abandoned vehicles if the owners do not. That is the explanation of the ordinance, Mr. Mayor.
Now, are there council questions of one of the 3? Go ahead.
Yeah. To Gary, once again, licensing, when the city licenses, if a person loses their license, they cannot operate anymore. It seems to me this is the same way with this permitting. If a person does not get a permit they cannot operate. Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. A license is different than a permit. Under a license scenario, the person's authority to conduct business in the city of Sioux Falls is by virtue of the license that's granted by the power granted by the governmental entity. A permit is simply a recognition that you are authorized to do business. Again, there is no charge. Again, it is a permit, not a license, excuse me.
But substantively the same?
You can make that argument.
Yes.
Kevin?
Gary, Judy did a commendable job of indicating the kind of the background behind the Section 19 changes. The Section 11 changes. What motivated staff and the Multi-Housing Association to come to these suggested amendments?
We went through a series of meetings with the Multi-Housing Association. The subject of the meetings was whether the registration ordinance should simply lapse by its own terms or whether there were amendments that could be made to the ordinance to make it a more useful tool to the city. Through a series of meetings, the changes that you see before you reflected in Section 11 are the changes that we think as a city, and I think for the most part the Multi-Housing Association agrees with, although they will probably wish to address it themselves in 2 weeks. These are the changes that give some particular meaning to the rental registration, the authority for the city to, in fact, require something for rental properties that have fallen into violation over the years, at least an inspection. And also, of course, there is the process for revoking the permit for properties that simply will not come into compliance.
Thank you.
Further questions of council to one of the staff people?
Yeah, just to clarify, Gary, when city inspectors can come into these apartments, when can that happen? I just want to clarify that.
When the application for the permit is when the application for a permit is made and the provisions of the ordinance require an inspection.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but so anytime they're getting a permit, then they're going to be inspected. Is that
no?
Okay.
If they've made application for a permit, and if they have been the subject of an enforcement action and the enforcement was not corrected, then as part of the application process, they must submit to an inspection.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of council to one of the staff people? I see no further question. We have a motion made by Bennigan, seconded by Costello to on item number 14 to set the hearing date instead of April 9th. The motion is to move that a week later to April 19th, or 16th, excuse me. So is there further discussion of that motion to set the hearing date for item 14 to April 16th? All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benniga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes. All members present have voted. April 16th been approved, so that takes care of that. So item 14, April 16th is the second reading for that. Now let's move to item 15.
Item 15 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations.
Gene Roanhorse, Director of Finance. There are two items here, one for $47,000, which is coming from Planning and Building Services. It is for the purpose of funding an additional inspection officer, housing inspection officer. And that money will come out of unobligated fund balance. And then $5,000 from the police department. This is actually a check that the police department receives from the school district to assist in training the school resource officers. So it falls under the area of a grant, and we just need to appropriate that money.
Questions of Gene on item number 15?
Yeah, Gene, if we go ahead and approve this new building inspector, how many employees will the city then have total?
I can't answer that question for you. We could get it for you tomorrow sometime.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin?
Was Councilman Staggers asking how many building inspectors we have?
We have two, don't we?
Were you asking for inspectors, or were you asking for
No, total employees.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't.
Further questions of Gene on item number 15? Go ahead, Bob.
Councilor Staggers said building inspectors. Is this for a housing inspector or another building inspector?
I'm going to let Mr. Cooper talk to that.
This is a request to hire an additional housing inspector. We currently have one housing inspector, and we have one code enforcement official. This would be an additional housing inspector.
Further questions? Not? Go ahead.
I'd just like to say that I've had discussions with Pete Nicolai, and he is very, very busy and overwhelmed at times with requests for what we're trying to do in this city. And as much as I realize that what a new employee costs, I would urge my colleagues to look real seriously at this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Further comments? Is there a motion? Go ahead,
Just
Pat.
clarification, is Pete our code enforcement, or is he a housing inspector?
He's a housing inspector.
Housing. Further comments? Is there a motion to set the hearing date for item number 15 for April 9th?
So moved.
Kavanaugh moves. Is there a second?
Second, Jameson.
Jameson seconded. All in favor of setting the hearing date for April 9th for item 15, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
All members present voted the hearing date has been set for item 15 for April 9th. Item 16.
A resolution creating Sioux Falls Tax Increment District Number 8.
Erica Beck with the City Planning Department. I'm going to be presenting to you items 16 and 17 concurrently, although they will require separate action.
You're going to talk about both of them together?
Yeah.
Okay. Councilor.
Since the City of Sioux Falls established its first TIF district in 1989, the city has taken a very conservative approach to establishing TIF districts in Sioux Falls. The city has effectively and reasonably used TIF as a development incentive for blighted areas within the core of our community. TIFs help local governments attract private development and new businesses. New businesses mean more jobs, more customers, and in turn more private reinvestment into the core of our community. The jobs and additional investment, both private and public, mean more money for the community. The general boundary for the proposed TIF 8 project or district is from Main Avenue to Phillips Avenue, and from 5th Street to just past what would be 4th Street. A map of the proposed boundary is on the screen and included within the TIF 8 project plan. The proposed district is located within the Downtown Design Overlay District. The proposed district is also located within the Old Courthouse and Warehouse Historic District, and it also includes property that is identified as a Brownsfield site by the Environmental Protection Agency and the City of Sioux Falls. I'm also going to go over just a little bit of the TIF diagram. I think you've all seen it before, maybe with other TIFs that we've used. But I wanted to go over it just a little bit and apply it to this specific TIF so that you, as well as everyone else at home, has an opportunity to understand how TIFs work a little bit better. Upon establishment of the TIF district boundary, the base assessed value is established. In the case of this TIF, the base assessed value is roughly $555,000, meaning that approximately $11,100 is being paid in taxes on the property. You should also note that roughly half of this property is owned by the city, and prior to that it was owned by the railroad, so taxes have not been paid on this property for a very long time. The $11,100 in property taxes collected from the base valuation continues to go to the city, county, and school district jurisdictions through the life of the TIF district. Additional property taxes that are collected from the increased valuation due to improvements that will be made go into a TIF fund. Those additional property taxes collected within the TIF fund are known as the increment. That increment can be used to cover the cost of public improvements, site preparation, remediation, architectural fees, land acquisition write-down, utilities, financing costs, and other things that are identified by state statute. The increment is determined by conservatively estimating what the anticipated assessed value will be after project completion. In the case of this TIF, we are anticipating that the assessed valuation just from Building A will increase to approximately $25 million. It would be $31.6 million for the entire Phase 1 project, the entire district. This will mean that taxes being paid on the property will equal somewhere between $561,000 to $584,000 after project completion. Just wanted to give you a little breakdown of the projected assessed valuations. This slide here shows the different projects located within this district, if you will. Building A, as I said before, is roughly estimated to be, will have a projected assessed valuation of $25 million. Building B will have a projected assessed valuation of $3.9 million. The depot building will have a projected assessed valuation of $1.2 million. And then the other three buildings will be historic rehabs and will have a projected assessed valuation of roughly $1.5 million. After the project is completed and the TIF increment is paid out, the TIF district is then dissolved, and all property taxes, again in this case roughly $561,000 to $584,000, are then distributed again to the city, county, and school districts. As a result, I just wanted to give you a little bit of project background on this. I know that you're all familiar with this project, but I think it's important to remember how we got to this point. As you may remember, in early 2006, the city issued a request for proposals for approximately 5 acres of property on North Phillips Avenue. As a result of that RFP, the city received one proposal titled Uptown at Falls Park. The Uptown at Falls Park group is a combined group of property owners, developers, and investors, each of whom is here tonight to answer any questions that you might have for them. It is also important to note that this proposed TIF is one of potentially 3 TIF districts that will be proposed for the entire Uptown at Falls Park development. Phase 1, or this development, that will occur within this district is an investment of roughly $52 million in project costs made by the Uptown at Falls Park LLC. The anticipated project cost for the entire Uptown at Falls Park project, redevelopment project, is a conservative $160 million, which we believe is a significant and very commendable investment into downtown Sioux Falls. I also wanted to touch a little bit to you on the review process that this TIF has gone through. The proposed TIF project was reviewed with Dr. Pam Homan from the Sioux Falls School District and the Minnehaha County Commissioners. Approval was received from both of those parties. The boundary and plan were also reviewed by the Planning Commission, and approval was received from that body. This plan has gone to the Fiscal Committee, and it has also been reviewed by the Downtown Development Group. Staff is recommending approval of this plan, both the boundary and the plan, due to its compliance with the goals that are stated in the adopted 2015 Downtown Plan and the 2015 Growth Management Plan. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Questions of Eric on item number, you want to take both 16, 17?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Not others that wish to address the council on item number 16 and 17? Seeing no one come forward, is there council discussion or action on item 16? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a question for Gary. Actually, Mike first. In general, on TIF plans, Mike, who is responsible for preparing these plans? Is it the planning department? Is it the developer?
The traditional method has always been that the city staff works with the developer. The developer comes in with the initial request for a TIF district. They're responsible for putting together the information on current assessed valuation, proposed assessed valuation, project costs, and then that information is reviewed by city staff, including Public Works, Planning and Building Services, the Attorney's Office, Finance Office, and that goes into the final recommendation that goes before the Planning Commission and the City Council.
And then the planning department takes all that information submitted and develops a plan and submits it?
Right.
Okay. Are you confident that this plan meets all the requirements set forth by the state in spirit and the definition?
Yes, we believe it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Gary, I guess the same question for you.
Yes. I anticipated this question, and I will tell you that reviewing other TIFs that have been done by Sioux Falls, visiting with the legal department at the City of Rapid City, and also visiting with the Municipal League, I believe that the costs that are included are costs that are historically included within TIFs. I've told you that there is one section of state law that I find very confusing dealing with TIFs. I have asked for clarification. I'm in the process of getting clarification on that from the Attorney General, but this plan looks like every other TIF plan that you'll see.
I guess more specifically, I think under state law there are many other requirements other than TIF eligible costs. Does this plan meet those requirements?
It does.
Follow-up question for Mike or Eric or whoever. On this plan, there is some $238,000 for parking lot for East Phillips, and that area doesn't appear to be within the TIF district. How does a cost associated with a project outside the TIF district meet the plan?
We've actually removed those costs from the appendix. Those were put in there because they were looking forward, and they didn't know that they had actually put those in there until you brought it to their attention at a meeting.
Okay.
So those have been removed.
Were you going to provide that to us sometime?
That they've been removed?
Yeah.
Was my misunderstanding.
Okay.
Should have done that.
During the original presentation back several weeks, probably over a month ago at a fiscal meeting, I asked for a review by Public Works of the TIF costs and then a review by Finance regarding the financing associated with it. We received a review for $2.8 million of public costs, of which part of what we just discussed. Did we ever get the review of the remaining $3.3 million, or did we ever get the review of the $4.7 in financing costs?
I did send this to the Finance Department, and I believe that Gene's here tonight, and he could probably comment on that. The remainder of the costs that you're referring to from Public Works, I took that on as my job to review those from the standpoint that most of them are very speculative, and they include things like historic facade easement program, which is something that I do at the city level, and I felt that I was, I guess, qualified enough to state that those were, I guess, eligible costs.
And you hit the nail on the head with that, because I don't think any of us on the council are in a position to know whether or not any of those costs are relevant or realistic or not, and so we rely on somebody else with expertise to help us through that. And I don't believe you had communicated that to us yet, had you?
We put those within the plan, so I guess that was my communication too, that we felt that this plan was ready to bring to the council.
Okay. Regarding the financing?
Not regarding the financing.
Okay. I guess Gene?
Similar to what Eric has said about the numbers, we have no real basis for determining the accuracy. We're not appraisers or anything like that, engineers. We've looked at the report. The numbers and the logic seems to make sense, but as far as any evaluation, we're not in a position to do that.
Okay.
Other questions of Erica on items number 16 or 17?
Mayor, I'm not done yet. Mike, back on how TIFs come about. I imagine, and correct me where I'm wrong on this, but when a TIF is conceived, somebody has an idea. They develop a plan, they determine estimates, they obtain financing, they go for approval on the TIF, and then there's construction. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that sounds pretty good.
A real broad scope of things.
Right.
Is that the order that this TIF has come to us in? Have we got those lined up right?
Yes, I believe we have.
Okay.
And again, I'll just kind of repeat what Erica said at the outset, that the really driving force for this TIF is the RFP that the city submitted to the public and saying, this is a brownfield site, it's part of Phillips to the Falls. It's important for us to look at some other land use besides the old railroad right-of-way. And as part of the request for proposal, the city would strongly encourage the establishment of a tax increment financing district on this property.
Can you expand on the analysis that went into the TIF? As Gary had mentioned, that we've determined that these costs are TIF eligible under state law. Has there been any additional analysis on that front?
Again, all the staff have gone through this, and to the extent of the analysis that we would normally do on any project like this, again, we're recommending approval of that to you tonight.
I guess if you've got a broad spectrum here, I think we all agree that this project is qualified for a TIF or deserves a TIF. And on the spectrums, you've got some incentive greater than zero. And on the other perspective, you've got the maximum that's allowed under state law. Has there been any analysis on where that amount should be drawn, or have we just gone to basically our conclusion is that it's eligible under state law and therefore we should get it? Is there not any needs analysis that should be done on these?
We did not analyze it to that extent because, again, when the RFP went out, at that time there was no indication that the city would be doing that type of an analysis or that the developer was going to be limited to certain parameters that might be more restrictive than what's allowed by state law.
And I guess I'm looking more on a broader picture on TIFs and not necessarily on this project itself, but in TIFs in general. Are we meeting our fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers by not doing any sort of needs analysis on these?
You probably would want to answer that instead of me, but what we have talked about is that we would like to develop a policy or guidelines, whatever we want to call that, for future TIF districts so that we can try to do a better job of answering that type of question. What are the parameters that different developers would be looking at if they want to come in with a request for a TIF district? What are the parameters that city staff and others would be looking at in terms of the financial analysis? And we believe that there is some benefit to putting together some type of guidelines like that, and obviously that's been our discussions with you in the past, is to move forward with that process. We don't have that for tonight, but we certainly would be interested in working with the council on that in the future.
Yeah, I guess that's where my trouble is that I think we agree that we need a policy moving forward, but we're at where we're at here, and we've got to vote on this tonight. And I'm uncomfortable not having the benefit of that analysis.
Further questions of Mike or Erica on items 16 or 17? Others that wish to address the council on items 16 and 17? Seeing no one come forward, we'll take item 16. Is there a motion? Gerald?
I would just like to make a comment, and Pat and I have had conversations about this before, and I agree with what he said. I do think, though, it's unfair for us to put an RFP together and ask for the involvement in the group project, if you will, of a TIF of this size, and then somewhere down the road change the rules of the game a little bit. So I think it's important for us to have those policies ahead of time before we do a TIF. And the developers have lived with the RFP that we requested, and I think that's where we should, frankly, plant our stake and move on from there.
Okay, thank you. Are there other discussion, or is there a motion to approve item 16?
Move to approve. Brown.
Brown moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on item number 16? Not all in favor of approving item 16, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes?
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present voted. 8 yes. Item 16 approved. Item 17, further discussion on item 17. Or is
I
there a
move
motion?
for approval. Knutson?
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments on item 17?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
with all due respect to the Planning Department and the developers, I do not believe the Planning Department has submitted a plan that meets the requirements under state law. Clearly, this project deserves some TIF incentive. However, I do not think that because an item is TIF eligible under state law that it should automatically be included in the plan. I believe the framers of the state's TIF laws envisioned a multitude of scenarios where TIFs could be utilized. In order to facilitate these different scenarios, they intentionally left broad descriptions for TIF-eligible costs to the various entities, that is, city departments and councils, to evaluate the merits of costs within the TIF plan. In Sioux Falls, we are simply ascertaining that the costs are TIF-eligible without any further analysis of need. Tonight, this plan, if we approve this plan, we will be injecting nearly $11 million of public money into a private project. Yes, without some incentive, this project will never happen. But when we forego property taxes of $11 million for not only our city, but the county and school districts as well, we owe it to our citizens to justify the incentive. Our analysis has not justified this incentive. It very well may be justified. We just simply do not have the data to support it. In the future, I strongly suggest an outside consultant be hired to help draft a TIF policy and evaluate future TIF proposals. This would be similar to that we have done with the Bond Council.
Okay, further comments on item number?
Yeah, I guess I have a question for Pat. In your remarks, are you wanting us to vote no on this?
I can, in good conscience, vote yes. That's up to you. I strongly supported the project. I just wish we had more information on it.
Okay, Bob?
Maybe Mike or someone can answer this. I know that Rapid City has used TIFs extensively. What kind of a criteria have they established in their TIF districts? I think they have 30 or 40 of them out there, if I remember correctly. Anybody know?
During our fiscal committee a couple of weeks ago, I talked a little bit about Rapid City and the fact that they have 27 TIF districts, active TIF districts in Rapid City. They have 2 or 3 that are somewhere in the process of being approved as well, or reviewed anyway. They have a TIF guideline similar to what I guess we're preparing. Mike said that we're preparing TIF guideline, TIF policy. And what they do is they use, again, eligible costs. They've interpreted them to be eligible costs as identified by state statute. That TIF guideline through Rapid City is available on their website. And, I mean, I would welcome any of you to look at it. I can email it to you, too, if you'd like that.
Okay, one other question. The amount of money that a TIF, that can be TIFed, is determined by the amount of taxes that are going to be raised by that entity during that time frame. And has to be supported, the bonds that are going to be issued have to be supported by the revenue generated by that tax increment. Would you care to explain that a little more?
Well, that gets into the financing mechanisms that can be used to fund TIFs. We've had, well, this would be our 8th TIF within Sioux Falls. Each one has been financed differently. Some use publicly issued city bonds, which are tax-free bonds. Some use private issued bonds, as in the case of TIF 2. And some use private development agreements, which do not issue city bonds. But it all depends on their cash flow. They don't have a large enough cash flow because the project's small, they don't have enough eligible costs, then they can't do bonds because they don't have the amount of money within the increment to pay back the financing costs that come with issuing bonds. So there are a lot of different things that go into determining how they're going to cash flow these and or how they will cash flow and the financing mechanisms that will be used to determine how, if they can do a TIF district. So there's a lot of thought that goes into these. With the public issued bonds, you know, they do go through this TIF, for instance. They did hire Doherty and Company to do a bond analysis for them. They've also provided revenue summary sheets in the back of their TIF to explain how their cash flow will actually work, how much increment they assume will be brought in on an annual basis, therefore telling us and the City Council and the public how they will actually be paying those bonds off and paying for the eligible costs.
Thank you.
Further questions? We've got a motion been made and seconded to approve item 17. Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion to approve item 17, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Staggers,
Yes.
Benninga,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Costello,
No.
Jameson.
Yes.
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 no. Item 17 has been approved. Item 18.
Item 18 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, northwest corner of Ellis Road and 22nd Street.
Tonight, we have 3 petitions for annexation of property that have been submitted by the property owners. This item is on the northwest corner of Ellis Road and 22nd Street. It's approximately 65 acres of land, and it is an area that we can provide future utilities services to. Staff is recommending approval of this annexation request.
Questions of Mike on item number 18. Others that wish to address the council on number 18? Close the council discussion or action.
I move for approval. Knutson.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. Further comments on the motion to approve item 18? Motion been made and second. All in favor of that motion will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown? Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 18 has been approved 8-0. Item 19.
Item 19 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, LWF Church, 85th Street, and Kiwanis Avenue.
This is a petition that would address approximately 10 acres of land located on the south side of 85th Street and west of the future extension of Kiwanis Avenue. And again, the staff is recommending approval of this request for annexation.
Questions of Mike on item 19?
I should excuse myself.
Okay, it'll be noted that Councilmember Jameson will be excused from voting on item number 19. Others that would like to come and talk on item 19? Go ahead.
Excuse me. You sneak up on me.
My name is John Engelhardt, Architectural Guild. We're the architects for the LWF, which is the Living Word Free Lutheran Church, which is a sister church of Abiding Savior Free Lutheran Church. In behalf of the congregation, we thank you for your consideration for this. We look forward to a heroic project on this site and for the congregation. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Others that wish to address the council on item number 19? Close it to council discussion or action.
Move for approval, Benninga.
I
Benninga
second.
moved.
I second. that
Knutson
motion.
seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of the motion to approve item 19, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
All members present voted 7 yes, 1 excused. Item 19 has been approved. Item 20.
Item 20 is a resolution including certain contiguous territory within the corporate limits of the city of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, 82nd Street and Beale Avenue, Mariah Meadow.
This is a petition requesting annexation of approximately 17 acres of land, and this property is south of the Harrisburg Explorer Elementary School, south of 82nd Street along Beale Avenue, and staff is recommending approval of this annexation petition.
Questions of Mike on item number 20? Others that wish to address the council on item number 20? Council discussion or action?
Move to approve, Litz.
Let's move. Is there Kavanaugh just second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor to approve item 20, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Councilmembers Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benninga?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 20 has been approved 8-0. Item 21.
Item 21 is a preliminary subdivision plan, Elrod addition to the city of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota, northeast corner of 41st Street and Ellis Road to allow commercial, office, multifamily, residential development. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is the property that we considered tonight under item 13 for the rezoning of 80 acres. This is the preliminary subdivision plan that we've been working with the developers and various city staff on the layout of streets and lots, and it is in conformance with our ordinances, and staff is recommending approval as well as the Planning Commission of this preliminary plan.
Questions of Mike on item 21? Others that wish to address the council on item number 21? Council discussion or action?
Move for approval, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh moved. Is there a second?
Second, Jamison.
Jamison seconded. Further comments? I see no further comments. All in favor of all in favor of the motion to approve item 21, vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 21 has been approved 8-0. Item 22.
Item 22 is a preliminary subdivision plan, Copper Creek addition to the city of Sioux Falls, Minnehaha County, South Dakota, southeast corner of 26th Street and South Dakota Highway 11 for medium moderate density residential and commercial development. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
This includes over 200 acres of land that is part of the Copper Creek addition. This includes the property that we acted on tonight under item 11, which was the commercial rezoning. This preliminary plan again shows the proposed layout of streets and lots in conformance with the zoning and in conformance with other city requirements. As I indicated under item 11, we've been working with the developer as well as the property owners directly to the east of what is proposed to be Schaefer Avenue, if you could highlight that. And we are going to continue to work with the property owners directly to the east of the proposed extension of Schaefer Avenue as far as their future land use and access plans. But this preliminary plan at least is in conformance with our city requirements, and we're recommending approval of this tonight.
Questions of Mike on item number 22? Bob?
Mike, will access to this corner property, will there be a problem with that proposed 1,300 feet or so that's for Highway 11?
We've looked at this in conformance with the South Dakota 100 access guidelines, and we believe that the proposed Schaefer Avenue access will be satisfactory. It does intersect with an existing street that extends to the north through the Split Rock Heights addition, so that's another reason why we chose that intersection.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions of Mike on item 22? Others that wish to address the council on item number 22? Council discussion or action?
Move for approval, Jamison.
Jamison moved. Is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Litz seconded. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of the motion to approve item 22 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
All members present voted. Item 22 has been approved 8-0. Item 23.
Item 23 is a resolution approving the 2007 audit program.
Further discussion, is there a motion?
Do we want maybe Rich to give us an overview for the public, at least, I would think would be appropriate.
It's Rich Oaksall, lead internal auditor. We have a number of projects on the resolution for you to approve tonight. You've been briefed on that last week, and you should have received paper copies and email notification of the projects and what we propose to accomplish and what the benefits to the city are. There are 4 audits proposed: construction contracts administration, purchasing and procurement, the Washington Pavilion management contract, and the cash handling citywide. There's other projects that aren't classified as an audit, but these would be internal control guide, unassigned audit hours, and we'll be coming up with a method of that elected officials or managers can approach the audit committee with a special request. We'll be developing the 2008 audit program using risk-based methodology, and we'll be performing a fraud risk assessment. And we'll be doing routine reviews and procedures, which are not of the scope of a full audit, but are important nonetheless. We'll be doing asset verifications. We'll be looking at vendor contracts to make sure we're getting the correct price. And we'll be doing some specific anti-fraud procedures using computer technology and specific things like that, looking for suspicious transactions. Do you have any questions?
Questions of Rich? No, thank you, Rich. Others who wish to address the council on item number 23?
I move for approval.
Knutson moves. Is there a second?
Second, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh seconded. Further comments on the motion to approve? Seeing none, all in favor of that motion to approve item 23 will vote yes. Those opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes. All members present voted. Item 23 has been approved 8-0. Item 24.
Item 24 is a resolution of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, combining the school district election with the special city election using the super precinct arrangements developed by the school district.
Who's going to address that?
I'll address
Okay, Deborah.
Mayor and City Council, last Monday I spent some time presenting a lengthy PowerPoint presentation to the council members to talk about some of the options before the council. And then tonight we have before you a resolution to expedite the date of the election to May 15th and join with the school district sharing expenses. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions to Deborah? Others who wish to address the council on item number 24? Council discussion or action to set the hearing date for May 15th?
I so move. Knutson.
Knutson?
Second, Brown.
Brown seconds. Further comments? Seeing no further comments, all in favor of that motion to approve item 24 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes. All members present have voted. Item 24 has been approved 8-0, so we'll set the hearing, we'll set the election date for May 15th. Get it right here. Set the election for May 15th to coincide with the school district. We thank the school district for that. Item 25 is...
We've already taken action.
Oh, hey, okay. It's the one you made. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
It's 26.
I think all we did on the main,
I thought we just made a motion to take care.
I think we just put to reconsider, I think we
That's
have
what
to
I thought.
vote on it to.
We have to vote to put on the calendar for April 2nd.
You can vote on it.
Mr. Chairman,
You do have to vote on it.
I would move to set second reading for item 26.
Is there a second to that motion?
25.
Item 25 for April,
16th.
help me, Mike, April 16th. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second. Benega?
Benega seconded. Okay. All in favor of the motion to set the hearing date will vote yes. Opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz? Staggers?
No.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes. All members present voted. The hearing date is set. 7 yes, 1 no. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Jameson, is there a second?
Second, Litz.
Let's second it. All in favor, vote yes. All opposed, vote no.
Council members Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Knutson?
Yes.
Litz? Staggers?
Yes.
Benega?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes. We are adjourned.
Have a nice Easter. Have a nice Easter.
Hey, you have a nice Easter too, do you? Oh, boy. Oh, a little bit, but at least we got out of here. It's not. We could have got out here earlier, but not too bad. So. Oh no! Well, I'm glad we.
Thank you for the
got
walk.
out of here a little bit.
Say, do you guys want to take
I don't know. Anything just make sense tonight? Yeah, did anything make sense? You know, I mean, sitting there. I mean, you know, it's. Some of it didn't make sense to me either. Right.
Give that to me, and I will sign that.
10 point. We didn't even go to 9 o'clock.